What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report. We're here live from the DreArea Sports Studios here in Northern California. And today we have a very, very great show lined up for you. We're going to be talking 3C2A scores, Cal, Stanford, the A's. Remember, I can't call them Oakland, just the A's. But the Niners get their win over the New England Patriots in dominant fashion. We're going to talk a little bit about that and how they defensively and offensively dominated the decimated New England Patriots. We're also going to have Alden Camp on later on. He's host of the Arizona Sports Show to talk about the upcoming matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. Also, the San Francisco Giants made huge news today. We're going to talk about that, installing Buster Posey as their president of baseball operations. All this and more today on the NorCal Sports Report. Let's go! What's up, you guys? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And guys, we have a good show today. We got Niners, Giants, a little bit of A's, kind of not really. Warriors had their media day, college football, a whole lot of stuff. And the Giants and Niners made the biggest news this weekend. So we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But guys, if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you follow IE Sports over on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, and at IE Sports Radio over on the internet as well. You can also find this show, and any other show on IE Sports Radio over on any podcast home, which is basically Spotify, Castbox, Apple Podcasts, everything. So definitely check out wherever you find your podcast. You can find IE Sports Radio. And also check out iesportsradio.com, where you'll find a listing for all of the shows that are on IE Sports Radio. We're talking shows from Arizona, which Alden Camp will be on later. We're talking about shows from Georgia, Wisconsin, Texas, all over the United States, Florida. We have you covered, so definitely check out iesportsradio.com. Obviously, check out /NorCal Sports Report. That's where you'll find more episodes of this show right here, so thank you very much. I can see the chat is going crazy today. I'm like, I don't know what is going on. But thank you so much, everyone who's tuning in right now. You guys are awesome. Got over 100 people in here over on my side. I don't know. That's crazy, man. Thank you guys so much. And definitely check out iesportsradio.com /shop. There you can find a selection of different merchandise from IE Sports Radio. I know Larry B said no websites, but it's ours, so it should be okay. We got t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, women's tees, everything that you're possibly looking for. That's a great way to help support IE Sports Radio. Also check out IE Sports Radio over on YouTube. Guys, we're trying to get this channel to over 1,000 subs. Let's do this. I know we can do it. So let's go check out IE Sports Radio on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. We have content going live almost every single day. Not to mention 3 and Out, hosted by Larry B. He does college and NFL. So definitely check out IE Sports Radio over on YouTube. You can follow me personally at NorCal Sports IE. That's the IE Sports Radio, the NorCal Sports Report IE Sports Radio account over on X. And you can follow me at DreArea Sports on X and over on YouTube at DreArea Sports, which we're live on all these channels right now. So that's freaking awesome. And this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky. Premium brisket beef jerky. This jerky is on a whole nother planet. If you want to follow them, you can follow them on Instagram over at Planet Jerky on Instagram, or you can place an order for them over at planetjerky.net. Definitely really, really good stuff. I'm loving Planet Jerky right now, dude. So good. We're also brought to you by Seal the Deal Wax Seals. You can follow them over on Instagram over at Seal the Deal Wax Seals. That's underscore wax seals. And you can place an order for those over at iesportsradio.com/seal the deal wax seals. Definitely cool stuff. Got a lot to get to today. But before we do that, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Planet Jerky.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, eSports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, eSports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at eSports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
10 minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report. So, guys, this past Sunday, the Niners took on the New England Patriots in a gotta-have-it-win game. This is a game that, look, if they didn't pull out this win, this could have been devastating for the 49ers here in Week 4. But the Niners were able to pull it off at a final score of 30-13. They absolutely dominated this game, which they had to. Both defensively and offensively, they dominated the New England Patriots. Now, some of you may argue, well, look, the Patriots had the worst ranked offense in the league, but at the same time, the Niners should have dominated them, and they did. And it's a game that they really needed because they were able to reestablish their pass rush. They were able to reestablish their secondary and reestablish their offense as well. So I think for the Niners, this was a get-right game. This was a game that they had to have in order to kind of right the ship as they go against the Arizona Cardinals, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on the show when I'm joined by Alden Kemp, host of the Arizona Sports Show. Now, guys, this is a game in which people going into this, Randy Moss, for instance, selected the Patriots to win this game, thinking the Niners would go in there and drop a goose egg, I guess, but he was wrong. The Niners went there and dominated. Brock Purdy was 15-27 for 288 yards, a touchdown, and 1 pick. He had an 89.7 quarterback rating. Jacoby Brissett, 19-32 for 168, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, a 70.8 quarterback rating. But Brock Purdy, the numbers don't show how good Brock Purdy really was in this game. He had 5 rushes for 11 yards, one of which was a 7-yard scamper, in which he got a first down. There was one possession in particular where Brock literally scored 3 touchdowns that were called back by penalties, 2 of which were called back by penalties, and one of which was caught by George Kittle in the corner of the end zone with 3 guys around him. They looked so freaking good. It was unbelievable. Now, could they be better? Yeah, I think they could. Drew Forder, a friend of the show, he says, whoops, I'm on the wrong one. Here we go. I was tapping over on YouTube. He writes, still too many field goals, still horrible pass protection. They need to clean up a lot in order to beat the Cardinals and the Seahawks. I thought their pass protection was a lot better. I noticed that you saw Isaac Yiadom more in like the 4 receiver sets, and you saw more Renardo Green covering the outside corner position. Opposite of Mooney Ward in the fourth quarter, and they would shift Diamondre Lenore into the slot where he's actually better suited. And we saw really good production out of that lineup. On top of that, we got more production out of the defensive line. It's funny because now that we're out Javon Hargrave, you would have thought, okay, so the Niners D-line is going to suffer. In fact, they were actually better. They were much better. Let's see. Leonard Floyd, he had 4 tackles. He had the pressure on Jacoby Brissett, in which when Brissett threw the interception to Fred Warner for the pick 6. I thought Devondre Campbell played better. He had 7 total tackles. Fred Warner had 7 tackles along with the pick 6, a 45-yard interception for a touchdown return. Charvarius Ward had 5 tackles as well. But when you look at the defensive line, okay, Malik Collins, he had 3 tackles. He had 1.5 sacks. Nick Bosa had a sack. And I'm telling you, a lot of people are talking shit about Nick Bosa, saying, oh, he's got to be better. He's got to be better. He's got to dominate when he's out there. Well, look, he is the focus of everyone's offensive line. How do we stop him, right? But what it does is it frees up everybody else. And we saw that finally on Sunday. Kevin Givens, 3 tackles, 2.5 sacks. And we saw the pressure that Leonard Floyd brought onto Jacoby Brissett, which caused him to throw that interception. So the defensive line looked really good. Gross Matos had a tackle as well. In the secondary, Jair Brown had 8 tackles. Malik Mustafa had 5 tackles. He almost had an interception. So that was a good sign as he filled in for the injured Talanoa Hufanga. So overall, they dominated this game, and they should have dominated this game. There was no reason why they shouldn't have. They're a better team. They're a more talented team, and they should have won this game. This was a get-right game for the Niners. But one thing I did like a lot about what I saw from the offense is that they went vertical. We saw Brock Purdy throwing deep passes to Deebo Samuel, to Juwan Jennings. One of them got picked off to Brandon Ayuk in the end zone. But those 2 verticals that he nailed, one to Deebo Samuel and one to Juwan Jennings, they were perfect passes, especially the one to Jennings. He put that right where only Jennings can get it. And if that defender didn't fall and flail underneath him, he probably would have ran for a touchdown. So those were really good to see them go vertical. He also hit Brandon Ayuk in a crossing route. And I want to say, what was that? for 38 yards. So that was a huge pass early on. Ayuk had 2 catches, 48 yards. He was targeted 5 times. He's still on my shit list, but he played better today, and I think he's going to get better as the season goes on. Deebo Samuel, 3 catches for 58 yards. He also ran twice for 14 yards, one of which was a first down, which was great to see. Isaac Guerrero, he had 1 carry for 0 yards. He also had a fumble on special teams. I don't know what they're going to do with Isaac Guerrero. I don't know if this is a guy that you want to keep going with. I don't know if Isaac Guerrero is the answer. He's a big guy. He's fast. But I don't know what he really is. Even when he runs the football, he looks very raw. He doesn't see the lanes like Jordan Mason does, like obviously Christian McCaffrey when he's healthy. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Isaac Guerrero, because he's the kind of guy, too, that he has those skills where if you try to put him on your practice squad, somebody's probably going to pluck him from your practice squad because he's got a lot of skill. But you got guys like Keyshawn Vaughn down, on the practice squad who could be up here and making a bigger difference than Isaac Guerrero. So we'll see kind of how they shake that out, because I really think that Keyshawn Vaughn could be a really good help for the Niners moving forward, especially at the running back position to help take some of the load off of Jordan Mason, because right now Mason is just a freaking beast. He had 24 rushes for 123 yards and a touchdown. Not only that, but he also had 2 catches for 37 yards. He was targeted 3 times. The guy's balling out there. I mean, he's the next coming of freaking Marshawn Lynch. And I'm sorry, but look, I want Christian McCaffrey back. Christian McCaffrey is amazing. I love Christian McCaffrey. But I love what Jordan Mason brings to the game. He's just a big bruising back where if he gets a lane, he gets a cut, he will take off. And he has a speed to break away. I love seeing Jordan Mason out there and what he's doing. So, like I said, 24 rushes for 123 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Mason was badass. He was great. Brock was great. The defense was great. And like I said earlier, man, Fred Warner is an absolute beast. He had 4 solo tackles, 7 tackles total, and he only played 1 half. He also had a pick 6 against Jacoby Brissett, in which he freaking dove, or he leaped into the air like a tight end, caught that ball, and then literally ran it back like a freaking running back. I mean, this guy is, like I said, if there's ever a living superhero, it's Fred Warner. The guy's amazing, although he had hurt his ankle, but I think he'll be fine for next week when we go against the Cardinals. But this was a game where we needed to see both defense and offense shine, and that's exactly what we saw. And so I was very, very happy with that. There were some stalled drives in the third quarter. I would have liked to see them just continue to run up the score and, really put it on the Patriots. But unfortunately, that wasn't exactly the case. There was 3 field goals, a lot of field goals, like Drew said. Jake Moody was 3 for 3 at field goals, as long as it was a 41-yarder. So he accounted for 12 points of the 30 that we scored. So just great to see the Niners really bounce back. Getting George Kittle back, getting Deebo Samuel back was huge. Kittle had 4 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. The big one that he caught in the corner of the end zone with 3 Patriot defenders draped all over him. I love seeing that. And it was great. They absolutely dominated. And they should have dominated because the Patriots aren't that good. Like I said, they were the worst ranked offensive team in the league. And if this team managed to score a lot of points and actually beat the Niners, and this would have been an overwhelmingly huge disaster. But it wasn't. They dominated. On the other side of the field, Ramondre Stevenson, he had 13 rushes for 43 yards, as long as it was a 13-yarder, but he had a fumble. That's right. Sam Okeanu had a strip for a fumble, which was recovered by Malik Collins. So that was awesome to see. And that's the other point I want to get at is what the Niners did defensively by enriching it with their youth. They gave more snaps to Sam Okeanu. They gave more snaps to what's his name? Kevin Givens. You also saw Yatir Gross-Matos out there a lot as well. So you're seeing a lot of guys. Evan Anderson, who even got a sack. The Niners had 6 sacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sacks on the day. And again, I know that the Patriots are banged up and they're not that great of a team, but this is what you need to do to a team like the Patriots, where you apply constant pressure. You get 6 sacks. You have, I think it was like 12 hurries against Jacoby Brissett. They controlled the line of scrimmage, and they made life hell for the New England Patriots. So I love what I saw out of the Niners, and the Niners will now go up against the Arizona Cardinals in Week 5, which we're going to talk with Alden Kemp in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk about the upcoming matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. Another thing I like, too, was that D. Winters was out there as well, and he's kind of the next coming of Dre Greenlaw. Not as good as Dre Greenlaw, but he has that energy, that speed, that veracity. And I like seeing him out there. I like seeing Malik Mustafa out there. I know that Hufanga was sidelined with an ankle injury, but I thought Malik Mustafa played really well. He almost had an interception, which that would have been awesome if he would have caught that. I thought Ronaldo Green looked really good out there. In fact, let's break down some individual player stats. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and share a screen with this because this is from my website over at nicotina.com, where you can find the communities for all 3 of my channels, including DreArea Sports, so definitely check that out. But here we go right here. Ronaldo Green played 23 snaps yesterday. Here's how he did in coverage. He had 17 coverage snaps, 1 target, 0 catches allowed. He had a 39.6 passer rating when targeted. So that he made things hard on the quarterback to get the receiver the ball on whoever he was covering. And I love seeing that. I love seeing our rookies really stand out. But that's not all. Let's take a look at Dominic Pooney. I called him Dominant Pooney. And the reason why is because he had 29 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressures, 0 snaps, or 0 sacks. 0 sacks. Pooney has yet to allow a sack or a quarterback hit in 146 pass blocking snaps this season. Not bad for a start in the NFL career. That, to me, is awesome. I love seeing that, our draft picks are contributing immediately. And Dominic Pooney is playing so good. I saw so many second-level blocks that were opening up running lanes for Jordan Mason. It was just great to see. And he's been a revelation on the offensive line, because not only is he opening up holes for the running backs, but like I said before, they typically ran to the left side towards Aaron Banks and Trent Williams. And now they're going left, or they're going right, or up the middle because of the presence of Dominic Pooney. He's making that line that much better. So our line performs better. Their run blocking is really good, and on Sunday they were really, really good in pass protection, which is what they needed to do. So that I was really excited to see. Now, going to some updates when it comes to injuries for the 49ers. We do have this one here. Christian McCaffrey, we know he went and saw specials in Germany, but now it turns out that Christian McCaffrey has bilateral Achilles tendonitis, which means that he has it in both of his legs. That's per Matt Mayoko on NBC Sports. So Christian McCaffrey has Achilles tendonitis in both legs. That's not good. This could mean that McCaffrey does not return for the rest of the season. It might mean that he comes back at the very end of the season. We'll see how this plays out, but not a good sign if you're a Niner fan or if you're Christian McCaffrey, because I think McCaffrey is going to be sidelined for quite a long time. If there was ever a game that he could target to come back, it would probably be against the Chiefs. But even then, I think that might be too soon because of his injury. And McCaffrey is a very, very important piece to this team. And so I think that, you have to be very, very careful with Christian McCaffrey, because you do not want to risk rupturing that Achilles. Then he'll be out for even longer. And we've seen that happen before. And it's not a good thing. I mean, we even saw Klay Thompson. That happened to him, and he missed an entire season. So that's the last thing we want to happen. But on some positive news, defensive tackle Kalia Davis is expected to practice this week as early as Wednesday. So there's a chance that Kalia Davis could make his return. Now, some of you guys are like, who's Kalia Davis? Well, Kalia Davis is a defensive tackle for the San Francisco 49ers, and he had a really good preseason as well, but then he had to have surgery on his knee, so he was out. But this is a guy that, he's a stout guy with a lot of speed, and if he can come back and help, that would be awesome. And not to mention, there was some other news, too, that the Niners have been working out Spencer Burford at right tackle as insurance in case of, for Colton McKivitz. So you may see Spencer Burford start to take over at right tackle. He did play right tackle in college, and he was mainly a left tackle in college before they moved him to being the right guard after they drafted him. So good news for the Niners on that front. But good win all the way around. So I was really impressed with how they dominated the game. And the vertical game that they had going against the New England Patriots. So really, really cool stuff. And I'm glad to see the Niners get back on track. Guys, when we come back, we're going to talk some big news about the San Francisco Giants. And boy, I have something to say about the Giants, about this next move. So guys, stay tuned. You're watching NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU, I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Now, Stanford had a big game. They had a game going up against Clemson, number 17 Clemson, and a chance to really move up in the ACC. And they went into Clemson with hopes of getting a win, but unfortunately, they did not. Unfortunately, the Stanford Cardinal fell to the Clemson Tigers 40-14 in an absolute blowout. They just wore down Stanford. The quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, K. Klubnik, I think I probably butchered that. He was 15-31 for 4 touchdowns. He did throw one pick and got sacked once, but 4 freaking touchdowns for a 153.6 quarterback rating. Ashton Daniels, 9 of 19. He threw for 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. the Clemson Tigers offensively and defensively just sort of overwhelmed the Stanford Cardinal. This was going to be a tough game for them to win as it is. On the bright side, Micah Ford had 15 rushes for 122 yards. His longest rush was for 26 yards. Ashton Daniels ran for 11 times for 87 yards. So, again, this was opportunity for Stanford to make their name in the ACC, and unfortunately, they failed the Clemson Tigers 40-13. As for the Cal Bears, they will look to take on the Miami Hurricanes in Berkeley at California Memorial Stadium. And not only that, but College Game Day will be in Berkeley this Saturday for College Game Day. They go up against number 8 Miami. Cal is 3-1. They had a good shot to really make a name for themselves against the Florida State Seminoles, who were 0-3, and they lost that game 2 weeks ago. So this is the chance to really, really make a name for themselves. Miami is favored by 10, so we'll see how that plays out. It's a pretty big spread, but Cal is at home, and they've been playing really good this year, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see them, give Miami a run for their money. So we'll see how that shakes out between Cal and Miami. That's this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time here in Berkeley. On top of that, we had San Jose State. Do I have that? No, I don't. We had San Jose State. Yeah, I do. The San Jose Spartans went up. Actually, they had a bye week, and they're going to be going up against the Nevada. What are they called? Nevada Wolfpack. There we go. I was going to call them Nevada Wolves. Like, that's not it. They were going up against Nevada Wolfpack. Now, in this case, in the MWC, the Midwestern Conference, San Jose State is in first place. Nevada is in fifth place. They're 2-3. So, again, this should be a game that San Jose State should be able to win. They had a barn burner against Washington State last week or 2 weeks ago. But this game should be good. This is going to be at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday. It's going to be on True TV, which is crazy. That's going to be on that channel. But San Jose State is favored by 6.5. So let's go San Jose State. Let's get to 4-1. And let's keep a stranglehold on the Midwestern Conference. Go San Jose State, man. I love seeing those guys win. So now let's switch gears over to the San Francisco Giants. Now, the Giants made some big news yesterday. They announced that they are parting ways, firing Farhan Zaidi, and replacing him with none other than Buster Posey as president of baseball operations. Now, this was a great fucking move. When I saw this, I was like, great. Niners whooped ass on Sunday. The Giants whooped ass on Monday morning by firing Farhan. Look, Farhan, let me just say this about Farhan. He had some good moves. He found guys like Mike Yastrzemski. He found these stopgap guys that, were pretty good. But again, Farhan was never able to seal that deal. Now, I'm not talking about seal the deal, wax seals. What I'm talking about is he could never get the big free agent. In fact, the only one he was ever able to sign was Carlos Correa. And then they backed out of that contract because he had a degenerative ankle injury. But how many free agents do we see Farhan go after and just get nothing? Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge. I know Buster Posey was involved in trying to lure those players to come to the Giants, but he can only do so much. I think in this case, it's a better situation for the Giants to have a guy like Buster Posey who played the game, who knows how to talk to other athletes, who knows how to sell the Giants and the future that they have planned out. So I am fully on board with Buster Posey as president of baseball operations. Today, Buster did announce that he will be hiring a new general manager. The current general manager that they have now, which is Patilla, he won't be returning as the general manager under Buster Posey. Posey did say that basically he will be returning in some other capacity with the organization. Posey said, we're going to hire a GM. That's going to be one of the first tasks right out the gate. Pete, who is Pete Patulli, he's talking about, he said Pete's been made aware that he'll be moving off the GM role. We'll work through what some other responsibilities might look like for him. So they're going to kind of figure out where he fits in with the organization. But Buster Posey is cleaning house. And this is badass. I love seeing Buster Posey clean house, get a new GM in there, get a new regime in there, and really turn this around. And I think if anyone could do it, it's Buster Posey. And why do I say that is because when you look at what he's done already, Farhan could not... Oh, shut up, Drew. Really, Drew? You got to come at me with this? But Andre, I thought they had to follow diversity rules for new hires. They probably do, but this is what I'm saying. Farhan could not sign. He couldn't get Matt Chapman signed. So what did they do? They had Buster Posey go in there and negotiate with Matt Chapman. And he got him signed to a 6-year deal, which was great. I love Matt Chapman. His defense, his offense, he's a gamer. Farhan couldn't seal the deal. He probably should have called Cecilia B for some of her wax seals. Maybe that would have helped. But he couldn't get the job done. Now, this offseason was probably one of the better offseasons that he's ever had. The problem, though, is that you signed Jorge Soler a 4-year contract, and the guy couldn't even hit more than 10 home runs, and then you traded him because you realized this is not a good fit for the Giants. The guy was a hack job. You brought in Matt Chapman on a 2-year deal, which is really like a 1-year deal. And to be honest, if Farhan remained in charge over with the Giants, I don't think there's a chance that Blake Snell even comes back. Now with Posey, I think there is a chance that Blake Snell comes back. Now, I said it last week. I want to see more Blake Snell. I would offer him an extension, without a doubt. He's been dominant. In fact, he's been one of the most dominant pitchers in Major League Baseball this year. So if you let him get away, you let him go, that's going to hurt the Giants. I want one more year, at least, with Logan Webb, Blake Snell, and Robbie Ray. And then you can add more to the back end of that rotation. You know, keep Kyle Harrison, I think, as well. But the Giants are a rich organization that acts like a cheap organization. They own their own ballpark. They paid that shit off back in like 2007. They've won 3 World Series. You know how much money they made off of those 3 championships? You can't tell me that this team doesn't have the money. And lately, the way that this team has been ran, you've seen a decline in attendance because of the way that Farhan has ran this organization. You're up, you're down, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. All these players are constantly being called up, called down, released, signed, called up, called down, called up, called down. It's unbelievable. Elliot Ramos is their best young player right now. But he didn't even start the year on the roster. He came in because somebody got hurt. And so it starts to wonder, did you even know how good he really was? Or is this a case where it's like, oh, hey, this guy's pretty good. Let's just keep him around. The guy was phenomenal. So to me, look, Farhan is a very smart guy. I think he's good behind the scenes. He's just not the guy who should be the president of baseball operations. And I don't think he's a salesman. He can't sell the vision of the San Francisco Giants to any free agent out there. I mean, let's be real. He signed Matt Chapman and he signed Blake Snell because they were running out of time and they had to go somewhere. Those guys didn't want to wait any longer out there in free agency with spring training coming to an end. They wanted to get it. They wanted to get in camp, and he took advantage of that. But at the same time, he signed Soler, and he had to trade him because he was so bad. So I think getting Buster in here, getting a new GM, getting a new front office is going to help the Giants tremendously. Because Buster knows baseball, he knows how to win, and I think he's going to bring a winning culture back to the San Francisco Giants. Is it going to be overnight? Probably not, but it's going to take him some time. But I think he's going to do a phenomenal job. And what does this remind me of? It reminds me of John Lynch. They said John Lynch, he doesn't have any experience. He can't run a football team. Now he has one of the best run organizations in the league. And a whole bunch of executives, football executives, they voted him as the third best GM in the National Football League. So I see the same type of path for Buster Posey. So this is a great move. It needed to happen. You know, you got rid of your Kapler. Now you got rid of Farhan. He had one more year to try and make this work, and he really didn't. And like in previous years, they get hot for a little span of time, and then you start to think, maybe this is it. Maybe they're going to make a difference. And then they just fizzle out, and it's over. It's over. So, big shout out to the Giants for making that move. And I'm excited for Giants baseball. I want to see what Buster Posey has to bring to the organization starting next year. Real quick, before we take our next break, let's run through some scores. The Oakland A's, they lost their finale 7-6 in 10 innings. So Seattle, well, they're second in the AL, and Oakland is fourth. No longer will they be called the Oakland A's. They will just be the Athletics playing in Rivercat Stadium, which is like, what? San Jose Earthquakes, they lost 3-0. San Jose, I'm trying to find their... Where did it go? Yeah, but they lost 3-0 against Montreal. And then let's go over some 3C2A scores. 3C2A, let's see. We got Santa Barbara. They took out Canyons they lost to Canyons 23-30 or 30-23. Modesto got blown out by Butte 34-14. Santa Rosa took out San Joaquin Delta 49-21. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go Santa Rosa. Sequoias took out Feather River 37-13. Sac City, I think I got smoked by Diablo Valley 29-0. Come on, Sac City. Come on, guys. You could do it. San Mateo rebounded off their loss. They won 17-14 over American River. San Jose, they lost 30-21 against Redwoods. And then San Francisco, it's been a rough year for them. They're 0-4 because they lose 21-7 to Fresno City. Yuba lost 50-18 against Cisquios. I think I butcher that every single time. I just can't help it. I try. I just can't. I can't pronounce it. And then I think that's the last one. These are all Southern California. Sierra. They lost 40-29 against Foothill. Shasta, their game got canceled last week. They lost 35-33 to Reedley. And Bakersfield takes out Antelope Valley 56-7. Those are your 3C2A scores here on the NorCal Sports Report. Guys, when we come back, we're going to be meeting with Alden Kemp of the Arizona Sports Show. We're going to be talking about the upcoming matchup between the Niners and the Arizona Cardinals. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, you're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen D, host of the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. If you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in live to the Show of the Land on Tuesdays, where we will cover the Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Guardians, and Monsters. We will also talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, Crew, Fury, and of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We'll also cover other colleges in the area like Akron, Kent State, Cleveland State, Mount Union, John Carroll, Baldwin Wallace, Youngstown State, among others. So like I said, if you love Cleveland and Columbus sports like I do, be sure to tune in Tuesdays to the Show of the Land with Jen B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report. That's my side. Go over there. I'm joined today by Alden Kemp. He's host of the Arizona Sports Show. Alden, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on here. You got a good show running through here, man. It's pretty good.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Man, ever since I joined IE Sports, even my channel has gotten much more, it's more subscribers, more everything. So it's been great. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. And being able to talk to guys like you especially makes it even funner. So, Alden, we got a game coming up this Sunday where the Cardinals come to Levi Stadium, take on the San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals took on, let's do this. Talk about their game this past Sunday.
Yeah, so we're coming off a very brutal loss against the Commanders. Yeah, 42 to 14. Coming into this game, I thought it'd be at least a high-scoring game, and it was, just not for us. Both defenses coming into that game were at the very bottom or close to it. I always talk about our biggest weakness on this team has always been the run defense, and they let Jaden Daniels and whoever was backfield. They didn't have Austin Eckler for that game, so I thought that our run defense would at least get something going a little bit. But and we looked good at the beginning of the game too. We scored on the opening drive. Marvin Harrison got his 4th touchdown of the year, so he's looking pretty good so far. But ever since the opening drive, Jane Daniels just delivered when he needed to, and former ASU had sucked to root against him. But they came into our building and they demolished us. So we're 1-3 right now, and coming into this week for San Francisco on the road, it's not looking good for us, but looking forward to it at least. So.
Well, and here's the thing, too, is that, you guys still have Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is still playing at a very high level. We saw what he did in week 1. We saw what he did in week 2. I mean, the guy obviously shows he has talent. And Marvin Harrison Jr., I mean, the first couple of weeks he didn't do much, but then now he's turning into a huge target for Kyler Murray. And so I was excited that they got Marvin Harrison Jr. He was one of the top receivers to come out of the draft. Him and Malik Neighbors, I want to say, were like the top 2. And so they've really kind of turned that offense around, although, yes, last week they had kind of a tough time. But when you look at the overall offense for the Cardinals, right now they're ranked 12th in total offense. The Niners are ranked 2nd in total offense. When you look at defense, where'd it go? On defense, the Niners are ranked 9th in total defense. The Cardinals are ranked 25th in total defense. So. Yep. But here's the thing. When you're going against a division rival, it sort of re-energizes everybody. We saw what happened a couple weeks ago when the Niners took on the Rams. Everyone was like, the Niners are going to go in there and just steamroll the Rams. Instead, they started to. They were up 21-7, and they completely collapsed and blew that game. So I think there's a chance that, could that happen again? Anything could happen on Sunday. But Kyler Murray is the guy I'm more worried about his mobility, his accuracy, and his ability to keep the play going and to get out of the pocket, that's what I'm most worried about. What do you think about Kyler Murray so far this year?
Yeah, Kyler, a lot of people like blaming Kyler Murray, especially our own fan base. But I mean, look at his touchdown interception ratio: 6 touchdowns and only 1 interception. So he's not turning the ball over. He's not, making a bunch of and the only interception he had was when he was trying to get it to Marvin Harrison Jr. in time in the end zone so we can tie the game. So that's the only garbage. It was really a garbage time pick if you think about it against Detroit. So other than that, he's not turning the ball over. He's not fumbling anymore. He's reading the defense as well. That's something he had a big issue with when he first came into the league. And, he doesn't drop back 7 to 10 yards like he used to do when he first came in the league. So he is improving. He's not, getting worse or anything like that. But I do somewhat understand it when, a lot of fans are impatient with Kyler Murray. It's year 6. He's only been to the playoffs once. He's dealt with a handful of injuries in his career. So, the criticism towards Kyler Murray can somewhat be justified. But this season, if there's anybody to blame, it's the defensive coordinator and obviously the head coach when it comes to making second half adjustments. That's been the Cardinals' biggest weakness this season, is being able to make the right adjustments in the second half, because our numbers in the first half look pretty good this year so far. And it was like that last year too. We were a first half team, but in the second half, we were known for blowing a lot of games, letting the other team go on, scoring on unanswered points, this and that over and over again. And yeah, the defense, they're 25th right now. It's all about that run defense. And even though the Niners won't have Christian McCaffrey for this game, I mean, Jordan Mason is still killing it. So
absolutely.
And I looked up since Kyle Shanahan was the coach of the Niners, I think it was 7 running backs that have gone over the 100 yard mark in at least one game. So it clearly, it doesn't matter who's in the backfield for Kyle Shanahan, they will get it done. So even without CMC, and I think Debo was out for a little bit too. I'm not sure if he's playing, but it doesn't matter who's injured for the Niners. They're a very deep offense, very deep team, and they're very talented. And it's gonna really be a big issue for the Cardinals defense. But as far as Kyler Murray goes, I like what I'm seeing so far, and hopefully he can continue to build off of it.
Yeah, I know. I think so. And Rockin' New Era 84 is right. Only 4 likes. Come on, guys, smash the like button.
Yeah, right.
But for the Cardinals, I mean, you're looking at the 28th ranked run defense. They're giving up 146.5 yards that's the average they're giving up. And Jordan Mason is rushing for just about 100 to 120 yards a game. So that's going to be a big thing for them. I think that the Niners are going to look to really, really run the ball on them and really take advantage of that weaker run defense. But the Niners are ranked 6th in run defense, so I think that Connor is going to have a much harder time running the football. They looked better last week. I mentioned this earlier. We lost Javon Hargrave, but I thought that you saw more guys stepping up, and you saw a better pass rush without Javon Hargrave. I felt like Hargrave just sort of clogged everything up, and now that he's out of the way, now guys are running free. So that's going to be interesting to see how their defense plays against the Cardinals. They had a really good showing against the New England Patriots, but I mean, look, Patriots suck.
Yeah.
So they should have dominated, and they did. And so that's a positive. If they would have just barely won that game, I'd have been like, holy shit, what is going on? But no, they played really well. Now, Marvin Harrison Jr., let me find his numbers real quick, because this guy actually has been playing really good in the past few weeks, and he's becoming one of the more dynamic receivers in the league. Where is he at? Here he is. So far he has 243 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. And his game logs is what I wanted to look at, because the first couple weeks he didn't do much.
First week, yeah.
He had in the first week he only had 1 catch, and he had 4 catches for 2 touchdowns. Then he had 5 catches for a touchdown, another 5 catches for a touchdown. So he's scoring at a high rate, and he's becoming one of Kyler Murray's favorite targets. Obviously, he has guys like Dortch out there as well. And Zay Jones, but at the same time, this guy is a high profile player. So I think that he'll be matched up with Charvarius Ward. And we'll see how that kind of plays out. The Niners pass defense hasn't been that great this year. But they did make some changes to the secondary, which have helped out quite a bit. They should get Talanoa Hufanga back in the as their safety. But the pass rush needs to step up, and they did last week. I'm hoping to do the same thing again versus Arizona. But the hard part with Arizona is that even if you get a good pass rush on Kyler Murray, he has the ability to slip out of the pocket and really, keep that play going and keeping his eyes downfield. That's where he really excels, and that's what has me the most worried is that if Kyler Murray can't beat you over the top, then he's going to start running. He's going to start getting out of the pocket and running for those first downs. And that could be a huge problem for the Niners, who historically have not done well against running quarterbacks. And I think that Kyler Murray has that ability to really take off. When he starts going at full speed, the guy's hella fast. And plus, he has a low center of gravity, so he's just like, So we'll see if they can contain him. What do you think, Alden? Do you think that Kyler will have a good opportunity to run the football against the Niners defense?
Well, last week he only ran the ball once for 3 yards. And our offensive line has, aside from Paris Johnson Jr., who I've loved since day one, aside from our left tackle to protect his blind side, there's not really a lot of guys that have really been holding down the fort for Kyler Murray. I mean, I know the Commanders, I'm well aware they have a good defense. They have a defensive-minded coach. They had a very good pass rush. But every single time, it feels like whenever Kyler snaps the ball, he doesn't have time to look at his options, right? He looks at Marvin Harrison Jr. They game plan him for sure, and he's double covered. And it's hard for him. And obviously, because Trey McBride is out too, our tight end, he's out with a concussion. And so
he's really good too.
Yeah, and that took away his number 2 option. So, we had guys like Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch who made a couple of plays here and there. But, the Cardinals, ever since we hired Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing as our coordinator, they've been known as a run-first team. So, and we signed James Conner to be able to hold down the fort. We drafted Trey Benson out of Florida State, who I thought was a great pick, but they're not really using him a lot. So it'd be nice to see Trey Benson get involved a lot more too. But if the Niners bring the pressure on Kyler Murray, and I actually didn't know Hargrave was out. I didn't know that. So that's
he's
very
out for
big
the year.
He's out for the year. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
he
tore his tricep.
Yeah. So that's big. So if the Niners, which they've been known for their pass rush for a very long time, so if they get to Kyler Murray, he's obviously he's got to make plays on his leg. But what I've noticed ever since Kyler Murray came back from his ACL tear, he hasn't been running the ball as much. It's almost like he's terrified of tearing his knee again or something like that. Like he hasn't been running the ball a lot. He hasn't really been running out of the pocket as much either. The only time he does is when he has no choice, because once again we go back to the O-line. They don't protect him that much. So it's almost like Kyler Murray is trying to develop as a pocket passer now, which he is. I mean, his accuracy is on point. He can make open throws, this and that. But against this Niners defense, especially with the rankings from what we've seen, Kyler Murray is going to have to use his legs in this game. And if he does, I mean, we all know what he's capable of when he's fully healthy. He puts up MVP numbers when he's fully healthy. So
yeah, I mean, looking at what you're talking about, their offensive line. I mean, in the first game against Buffalo, gave up 4 sacks, and then 1 sack, and then another 4 sacks against when they went up against Washington, who's a really young team as well. But looking at his rushing, he only ran once against Washington for 3 yards, but in the 3 games prior against Buffalo, he had 5 rushes for 57 yards, 5 rushes for 59 yards against the Rams, and then another 5 rushes for 45 yards. I mean, he's averaging about 10 yards per run, which is he's averaging a first down every time he runs the ball. So that's what really worries me about, especially getting him off the field on 3rd down. But when you look at their overall schedule, I mean, in all intents and purposes, they probably should have won that first game at Buffalo. They should have stole that game, and unfortunately, Buffalo came storming back and won that game, which was, I was like, holy crap.
I feel like we should be 3-1 right now, because the Buffalo game, I mean, if Kyler makes that throw to Marvin Harrison Jr. at the end of the game where he was wide open, we would have won that. The Detroit game, we had so many opportunities. Our defense showed up for once, and our offense couldn't deliver. And, the refs, I don't like complaining about the refs, but they did take away a pick 6 from us, so that didn't help.
Well, the refs are atrocious this year, especially. They've been terrible.
Yeah, so I really feel like if it wasn't for those couple mistakes, we could be a 3-1 team right now, but unfortunately it is what it is. And,
what are you going to do, right? I mean, it's like and then you see the calls that like teams like the Chiefs are getting. It's absolutely atrocious.
Right.
It just sucks. It sucks that it sucks when the refs are dictating the game. When it's like, bro, just let them play.
Right.
I mean, you saw against the Falcons. I mean, that dude had his head buried in the Falcons in that receiver's stomach. You know what I mean? And they were just like, okay, I look clean. I look good.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what? The whole world is like, what are you talking about? You know, it's like unbelievable. So as we round things out, let's go into our score predictions. What do you see the score being at the end of the game against for Cardinals Niners?
Yeah, so I do. Every time we do play the Niners, I feel like it's a very competitive game, right? Every time we play this team, no matter how good or how bad either of our teams are, it is a very close game. But heading to San Francisco with the injuries we're dealing with, we don't have Trey McBride. We might not even have Budda Baker either. He's questionable, so that's very big for us.
That's
I
huge.
am gonna. Yeah, I do want to pick my team, but unfortunately, under those kind of circumstances, I'm going to say the Niners take this one 31-27.
31-27. Yeah, I think it is going to be a closer game. And so I'm going to go 27-21 Niners.
All right.
I think they'll be able to pull away from them, and because at the end of the day, I don't see the Cardinals defense being able to stop them. And Kyle Shanahan really isn't a coach that likes to run up the score. So
Right.
I think, 27 or 30 points is where he likes to have them, kind of sit. So I'm saying 27-21 Niners. I think the Cardinals scored another touchdown towards the end of the game, but it doesn't really matter. But like I said, like we all said, we could be dead wrong, and it could be a game where all of a sudden, it's 17-17 in the fourth quarter. You're like, what the hell's going on here? But I think based on the way they played against the Patriots, I think we're going to see a lot more of that against the Cardinals. And I think that the Niners are, trending upwards in terms of, getting more wins than losses. They had a really bad loss against the Rams. They actually played the Vikings really good. I mean, they were in the game until the very end. You look at the following 2 weeks after that Vikings loss, the Vikings took on CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, and they took on Jordan Love and the Packers, and they completely blew them out. Well, the Packers came back and then just shit the bed at the very end, but it was still a blowout at one point. So it shows you how good that defense can really be. Once Jordan Love started to like get loose, get his leg loose, and he started playing a lot better. But we'll see how that kind of plays out. And also, I mean, I think James Conner can be a real factor in this game. But the only thing is that you look at his game logs. Let me see where he's at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in week 2 against the Rams, 122 yards. In week 3 against the Lions, only 17 yards rushing.
Yeah,
104 last week against the Washington Commanders, but their defense sucks. But only look, when you tell me that like James Conner is going to run for 104 yards and a touchdown, and you lose 42-14, you're like, wait, what? Shouldn't that have been a lot closer of a score? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's crazy. So he has a chance, but I think Niners defense is playing better against the run, but we'll see how that kind of shakes out. But like I said, I'm predicting the score to be 27-21 Niners, and you said, and what was your prediction?
31-27.
31-27. Closer, high-scoring game. Yeah.
I just can't trust our run defense right now. I mean, I feel like once they get the run going, and Purdy makes he can just extend the plays throwing. Our defense.
Well, let me ask you that. I mean, like, what do you think so far about Brock Purdy? Being an Arizona fan.
Yeah. He's doing his thing. I mean, I never understood the criticism he got. I mean, sure, he's got weapons around him. Of course he's going to look good, but at the same time, I mean, who's the one throwing them the ball? It's Brock Purdy. It's not like he's overthrowing them, underthrowing them, this and that. I mean, I mean, Arizona native too, by the way. So,
oh yeah.
He's definitely doing his thing right now, and credit to him. I mean, after losing that Super Bowl, I mean, that's what you should expect him to do. Go out there and want to win it even more. So, and the Niners, all the Niners have to do, from what I've seen from the Niners in the past, all they have to do really is just get in. If they get in, it doesn't matter who they play in the playoffs. They'll be competitive. They'll have a chance to win. all they have to do is just worry about getting in and then go from there. And Brock Purdy is doing what it takes to get there. So he's doing his thing.
All right. Well, there you have it. Alden, I want to thank you for coming on here and talking to me about Niners Cardinals. This was a lot of fun. And we'll do it again later this season when they meet up again in Arizona. I think they play twice a year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do it again later this season when they play in Arizona. Alden, thank you so much, man. And hey,
thank you.
What do you got going on for the rest of the week? Where can everyone find you at?
Yeah, so every Friday, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, AZ Sports Zone. I just go live on there. I mainly talk about Cardinals, Suns, Diamondbacks. This week, it's going to be hard to talk about 2 of those teams, but yeah. So I talk about ASU and U of A football as well, and then occasionally I'll go live for the Cardinals games on my personal channel, which is always Arizona Sports. I just do hangout streams with me and my buddies on my personal channel. So if you guys like hanging out, watching sports, talking sports, then that's what I do on my personal channel. But as far as IE Sports Radio, like I said, every Friday at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, that's when I go live for 1 hour and talk about my suffering Arizona teams. So find me on there. Yep.
Well, at least you got the D-backs and they're in the playoffs. There you go.
No, they actually missed it.
Oh, they did?
They missed it. Yep.
That sucks.
And
I stopped paying attention because the Giants got eliminated weeks ago. So I was like, oh.
The Giants will be better, though. I know that now.
Well, we'll see.
When I saw Farhan get fired, I was like, yep, they're going to get better now.
I know. I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. Alden, thanks a lot, bro.
Yep. Thank you, man.
We'll see you next time.
Yep. See you next.
Sorry about that. Cut you off. But yeah, we'll see you next time, man.
Later, man.
So, guys, that's going to do it for the NorCal Sports Report. This is not playing. There we go. So, guys, thank you for tuning in to NorCal Sports Report here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The Niners are going to be taking on the Cardinals next week. I think they're going to win this game. This is the game they got to get. It only gets harder from here on out. You got the Seahawks, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Bills, a lot of hard teams coming up. I want to thank Larry B for setting this up. IE Sports Radio, of course, your direct feed for all that is sports. Check out IESportsRadio.com. You can follow me on X at DreArea Sports and follow me on YouTube at DreArea Sports. You can also be part of my community over at Nicotina.net. That's the homepage for all 3 of my channels and is the home for DreArea Sports. We'll see how they do next week. We'll see how the Giants do with Buster Posey at the helm. Excited to see about that. Guys, you're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your home for all that is sports. We'll see you next time.